video we're going to go through making the roof tiles for the R503 signal box, and these tiles were resin printed on the Elegoo Saturn III. I'm going to show you how I used Fuson to create the actual STL files. So the first thing I needed to do in Fuson was create a sketch, and I chose to create this sketch on the XY axis. So I needed to create two tiles. So if we have a little look, I'll go into edit sketch. You can see the tiles are 6mm in height each. The bottom is 0.8 and this section here is 1.4. So I just repeated that the second time. The next thing I needed to do was do a simple pull. So if I scroll this around, so if we have a look at the feature, you can see I pulled it -5mm and created a new body. So we'll level up now, and I've done this one. So edit the feature, but this time you'll see I've started with an offset, and the offset is 2.5mm. I've used one side, a distance, and the distance in this case is -5, so that gives me the staggered effect. I then needed to add the chamfers. So if we have a look here, I zoom in a little bit, you can see I put chamfers on these sections here. Look at the edit the feature, and what I've done, I clicked on the 4 straight line edges that were there, and I've set a chamfer of 0.3mm, equal distance, and that is what I've got that set at. I then needed to use a patterning. So if we have a look at the feature, I scroll out a little bit, so you can see I've selected these two objects here, and I've selected the two axes to pull it on, which is the back face. It's a little bit hard to turn it. So I used the back face here and the bottom line down here. So that is what they are. We went with a distribution of spacing. On axis 1 I wanted 22 tiles and a distance of 5mm in one direction, and in axis 2 I wanted a quantity of 4 of a distance of -12 in one direction, and what that gave me is enough tiles to complete the roof section. Now obviously we've got some overhangs here. So the next thing I wanted to do, or needed to do, is combine all the features. So here I wanted to have one target body, so I selected the body, which was all of those pieces, and that told me there was total bodies of 87 selected, and I used the join. Now obviously there was cut and then intersect, so we went with join. And what that then gave me is one body to work with. The next thing I needed to do was create an offset plane, so I'll turn that on. So what I did there, I created the offset plane on this back face. So if we have a little look, all I did was selected that face and I offset it by a distance of 10mm. The reason I did this makes it easier for me to do the final cut. So next I then created a sketch. So if we take a little look at the sketch, this is the size that I needed the final roof section to be. So the inside line here was 107.409, and then this section here was 47,806. I then created an offset using this to to give me an outer cut line as well, and that was at 6.29. These were just wild figures for them, and then obviously finish that. And then the final thing I needed to do, if we edit this feature, to be able to cut the tiles out, I used the outer section, and basically I set it to a distance of -20 with a cut. And then what that did, it nicely cut. So if I turn off the plane, what I wanted to show was basically where we cut, you've now got the right features on the end, because some of the tiles will have a chamfer, some won't. Now depending on how accurate the tiles are for the roof, the other end might all be straight cut, because that's what would happen as they cut the roof. So hopefully that shows you how I created those tiles. In the next video I'll show you how I did the ridge tiles. Thank you for watching.